Hi, everybody. Welcome from Eugene, Oregon. Out here on the left coast. I'm going to tell the players, you think we went far, but thank goodness for charters. 4.5 hours. Not quite the same distance that it took us to fly or to drive to Auburn or Oxford or Hoover. So what's the difference if you're in the air or on the road, right? What's the difference?
No unscheduled stops this time, Coach?
No unscheduled stops. Didn't have to stop for gas. No lightning delays on the tarmac in Colorado Springs. Easy. So we're here. Everything's on schedule. We're actually going to leave the hotel here at 3:45. We just got here. What time did we pull in? About an hour ago. We had a nice lunch they had prepared for us. We're going to leave at 3:45. We're going to drive about 45 minutes away to a community college called Lynn Benton Community College, where they have an artificial turf infield. And we're going to have a nice little practice, get the legs stretched out a little bit and run around a little bit. And we'll come back. And then tomorrow we'll have a practice out at the game field where the regional will be held at the University of Oregon. You're ready to tee it up on Friday night. Fired up for the Gonzaga Zags.
What have you seen in just the limited time you've had on the artificial turf as far as fielding? Does it play true? Do you feel like it's
Well, we haven't been on the field here yet. We did practice the last couple of days over at U High on the artificial turf infield there. So our infielders have taken ground balls since we knew we were coming to Oregon and we knew we would be on turf. So we had 2 days of taking ground balls on artificial turf at U High. And we'll take ground balls today on artificial turf. And then tomorrow is an all turf field, including the outfield. But we had a good series at Kentucky earlier this year, an all turf field. We had a good game at UL in Lafayette, an all turf field. So, nowadays, these kids have played on so many turf fields. A lot of them play in tournaments in the summer when they were in high school at a facility called Lake Point over in the Atlanta area. Those are all turf fields. Some of them have played over in Hoover in the auxiliary fields that are turf. So the turf fields are not as unique as they once were. There are so many of them out now that I'm not concerned at all about us going on to a turf field. In fact, in some ways, it'll be good. True hops, a little bit faster. I like a faster game anyway. So, yeah, we're excited about it. I think it's a beautiful facility. The pictures I've seen, I've never seen it in person, but I'm excited about playing. It's going to be a new environment and a real adventure for our players.
Paul, this is Doug at WWL-TV in New Orleans. Are you getting any sense of some kind of rejuvenation from your team? Maybe they appreciate this at a level you haven't experienced because they weren't sure they were even getting in. Any of that?
Doug, that's a good question. This kind of reminds me of a team that I had one year at Notre Dame where we didn't know if we were going to get in. And very similar to the other day, the last bracket shown was our school. That year it was Notre Dame, this year it was LSU. And our team years ago reacted the same way that our LSU team reacted the other day. And honestly, it was very heartwarming for me to see the kids react that way. When you're at LSU and you're so used to so much success, sometimes they just get very numb to it. Oh, well, we expect that. And sometimes it doesn't trigger those emotions. And you become so used to success that they don't, it just doesn't, fan those flames. And I'm a passionate person, and I like our kids to feel the passion and feel the enjoyment and the thrill of victory. And I love to see emotion move you to tears and move you to laughter and move you to all the emotions that come out. And when I saw our team react the other day, I was standing in the background And I had a tear in my eye. I'm sure that doesn't surprise you after the press conference the other day. You know, cried more in the last week, I think, than I have in the last 10 years combined. But, you know, to see the kids react the way that they did was very heartwarming for me, because it showed how much they care and how passionate they are about it. And sometimes when that passion comes out like that, it rejuvenates you and it makes you not take things for granted. And I think when you don't take things for granted and you appreciate stuff more, you give more of an effort. And that's what I'm counting on this weekend. I think that they're going to be very focused. I think they're going to be very excited. I think they're going to go out there and leave it all out on the field, let it rip. And that doesn't necessarily guarantee victory, but I know they're going to give it everything they've got. And what else can you ask out of a bunch of kids?
Paul, diving into some of the particulars about the games this weekend, that you've said Landon will get the ball in game one. What do you kind of like about him in that spot? I mean, obviously he's an excellent pitcher. And then is it going to kind of determine the outcome of that game, determine what you do the rest of the weekend in terms of pitching, or have you already got that decided?
I'm going to kind of keep that close to the vest if I can, because I don't know who we're going to play. I don't really know that much about the other teams. We haven't seen them play. And I don't know what the best matchups will be. So I'm not 100% sure what we're going to do with the second game yet. Obviously, I hope we're going to be in the winner's bracket, and I hope we'll be playing the night game the second day. Whether we're playing Oregon or Central Connecticut State, I don't know. Don't sleep on Central Connecticut State. Let me tell you something. Oregon should not. I know their coach, and he is an excellent coach. He used to coach, as I told you the other day, Providence in the Big East Conference, and he always fielded a great team that was very hard-nosed and played hard. And I would guess that he's got the same thing over there at Central Connecticut State. Bunch of hard-nosed kids from the Northeast that love to play and will knock your head off to beat you. And I'm telling you, if Oregon takes them lightly, they're liable to get stunned. Let me tell you something. If we were playing Central Connecticut State at home at LSU and we were the 1 seed, I would not pitch off of them. I would go with them with Land. I would go at them with Landon Marceau, just because I know their coach and I know the way that he is. It would not be like playing some team that you would think would be an automatic win and you could pitch off them. So I don't know what Oregon's going to do. I don't have any idea. I don't know their coach. I have no idea. So I don't know who we're going to play in game 2, and I haven't seen either team play, but we'll get a chance to take a peek at them during game 1 as we're getting ready to play our game. So I don't really know what we're going to do yet from a pitching standpoint. I'm so totally focused on Gonzaga right now. I just think we're going to be in for a real battle on Friday night. We have studied this pitcher that's going to be pitching against us so much, and he scares me. Honestly, he's got a really unorthodox way of pitching. He's all arms and legs, and he doesn't have like outstanding stuff, but somehow he just gets the job done, and we've got to have a really good approach against him. We're going to work on that today.
Hey, Coach. This is Glenn West here. Obviously, one of the, I guess, benefits, if you could call it that, of kind of leaving the SEC tournament so early was it gave some guys that were a little bit nicked up some extra rest to kind of recover. Do you have much of an update on how Giovanni's been feeling with that hamstring? And then also Gavin, we talked to Gavin the other day. He said his ribs are feeling a lot better. Just where do you think those two guys are in terms of their recoveries?
Well, I'll give you an update on those two guys, and I'll also let you in on a couple other guys that I was very concerned about going into the SEC tournament that needed the rest as well, okay? Gavin, I think, is 100% full strength. He was really banged up in that Texas A&M series. I mean, that collision in left center field with Bianco really knocked him for a loop. He took one in the ribs, but it really jolted his back as well. And the whole weekend his back was hurting, and then he banged one off of his leg. When he was hitting, he dove for another ball and rattled his ribs again and shook up his back. So he needed some rest. He really was hurting, and I think he's doing fine now. Giovanni's leg looks to be 100%. He's ready to go. And two other guys that really were not 100% were Devin Fontenot and Garrett Edwards. And I was really concerned about both of them. Fontenot was having a neck issue, which has flared up with him on occasion. And I didn't even know if he was going to be available. And Garrett Edwards has been dealing with a muscle problem in his forearm for about 3 or 4 weeks now. So the fact that he didn't pitch at all last week has given that forearm strain and a chance to really get better. Not having pitched at all last week in the SEC tournament was a real help for him. It's not, I don't think it's anything serious. It just was never going to get any better when he kept pitching. He needed to not pitch for a couple of weeks for it to be okay. And I think it'll be much, much better this week, hopefully. And so if there's silver lining in anything, those 4 guys, getting the rest from last week, I think will help all of them. And I think, and remember Alex Milazzo took a real hard shot to the groin area against Northwestern State, and he was really hurting the whole weekend at Texas A&M and even into Tuesday's game against Georgia. So the fact that we didn't play at all over the rest of the week, I think allowed him to heal as well. So yeah, I think we're 100% now and ready to go.
I didn't know if we were waiting for the question. Coach, I don't want to assume anything, but you sound pretty invigorated yourself. I mean, you sound like you got a little pep in your step. Is it just do you feel better? Do you feel like, or is it the unknown, really has got the juices going?
Remember the movie Waterboy? Remember when Dan Fouts kept saying there's no reason to hold anything back? I kind of feel that way about myself now. Hey, this is it, If I can't be enthused and excited now, what am I holding it back for? I feel like I have a big load off of my own mind, Michael. I've been laboring for that decision. I really wasn't 100% sure what I was going to do until I woke up on that Thursday morning and discussed it with Karen, and then met with Scott Woodward, and then to see the way Scott reacted when I talked to him really kind of took a lot off of my mind. And once it was out, I didn't have to hold it in anymore. You know what I mean? I didn't have to, it wasn't just me keeping it inside and weighing on my mind only. Now I know what I'm doing, and I know how Scott feels, and I know that I'm going to be helping out in some capacity, and I know this is it for me, and I'm excited about this weekend. I think we can win this thing. I'm excited about the game Friday night, and I'm confident, but not overly confident. I think we're going to play a really good team against a really good pitcher, but I'm excited as well. Got a lot of family coming to the game. My two sisters are coming. I've got a brother coming. I've got my best friend from high school coming out. I want to win this thing. We're gonna go after this thing with both barrels blazing. You know what I mean? And hey, I've been a competitor my whole life. I've been competing since I was a young boy. And after this season is over, I'm not going to have that competition in my life anymore. I got nothing to hold back now. Let's go after it. So we're going to do the best we can.
Speaking of going after it, what stands out about the Gonzaga lineup? You talked about their pitcher that you're concerned about, but what stands out about their lineup?
Well, they're scrappy, man. They're hard to strike out. And I told Landon this. I said, look, you're a strikeout pitcher, but you can't get frustrated if you can't strike these guys out, because they have a really good approach when they get 2 strikes on them. They're a very unselfish team. They hit the ball the other way. They're a bunch of tough little guys that, not necessarily little, but they're tough guys. They're a good team. You can see they're well coached, and they put the ball in play. We got to play good defense behind Landon. And I told him, don't get frustrated. Don't be afraid to get some early pitch outs. We don't need to, just nibble on the corners and just trust your stuff and let's go after them, because if you keep getting 2 strikes on them, you can't, and they keep fouling balls off, they're just going to drive your pitch count up and you're not going to be in the game as long. So, they're a scrappy group. They play with a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of energy, and they're tough, and they're playing with a lot of confidence. And especially when this kid is on the mound, they play with an awful lot of confidence. They haven't, they haven't had a lot of sustained success for a long period of time like an LSU has. They haven't been in this position a lot. And they're a little disappointed, though, because they were one of the 20 schools selected to potentially host a regional, and then they got bypassed and didn't make the cut for 16. So they got a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, too. So, being considered to be one of the 20 tells you that they've got a good ball club, and they know it. But they also have a little chip on their shoulder because they got overlooked for the 16. So we're gonna have our hands full. They're the 2 seed. We're the 3 seed. Remember that.
True. And you mentioned Central Connecticut State and obviously Gonzaga, but what's your scouting report on Oregon? Obviously, you'll see more of them in game 1, but what do you think about them as a team?
Well, they have a really good starting pitching, and I don't know, what their rotation is going to be. I don't know if they're pitching off in game 1 or not and saving their number 1 guy for game 2. So I really don't know. I haven't looked at him that much. The only thing I know is there's a player on their team that I coached with the 2018 USA Collegiate National Team. Kenyon Jovan actually made the team. I love the kid. He made the team as a pitcher, but he had developed some arm problems after, and now he's their biggest power hitter. He's got 14 home runs. Hits in the middle of their order. He's got about 50 RBIs. He told me all summer, Coach, I can hit. I said, come on, Kenyon, leave me alone, will you? Go pitch. You can help us with pitching. He's a great kid. I love him to death. And so finally we were playing down in Cuba, and we had won the first 3 games, but the final game, the Cuban team was beating us fairly handily. So it was the 9th inning, and I said, okay, Kenyon, get a bat. I'm going to let you hit. And he took 3 of the biggest swings you've ever seen, but he came up empty. Three in a row, and he struck out, and he wanted to prove to me he could hit one to the moon, I think, but he struck out that time. I can't wait to see him and give him a big hug. He's a great kid. So he's the only player I know. And don't forget that Zach Arnold actually signed with Oregon out of high school. Yeah, you probably forgot that, didn't you? And then when their coach, George Horton, was let go, he decommitted, he got released from his national letter of intent and came with us to LSU. So, first, when I saw that we were going to Oregon, the first person I thought about was Zach Arnold and how weird this was going to be for him. But he told me the other day that out of their 12 signees that year, only 3 of them ended up going to Oregon. 9 of them decommitted or got released from the national letters of intent, and it didn't end up coming to Oregon. So I don't think he knows a lot of players on the team. So I don't really have much of a scouting report on Oregon right now. This tells you how much I'm totally focused on Gonzaga.
Hey, Paul, other than winning the national championship, what are 1 or 2 of your favorite LSU moments or memories? Briefly, if you can. I know that's hard for you.
Thank you, Glenn. You're so kind. I never claimed that brevity was one of my greatest qualities, so you can't say
no
that
problem.
I'm a hypocrite about that. Well, I mentioned the other day at the press conference about the 23-game winning streak. That base hit by DJ LeMahieu against Tulane in the 8th inning that put us ahead on a Tuesday night, and then we went on to win. That started the 23-game winning streak. Of course, that would have to be right up there. And of course, we won the 3rd game against Texas, but the first game against Texas was probably the greatest baseball game I've ever been associated with. It was back and forth, and then we were down to our last out, and DJ got the 2-out, 2-run double to tie the ball game. So arguably, you could say that DJ LeMahieu probably had the 2 most important hits in Paul Mainieri's coaching career, right?
Wow.
started the 23-game winning streak, and then got the Game 1 victory in the finals of the College World Series. If DJ didn't get his own $90 million contract, I would probably owe DJ quite a bit, but I'm not going to give him anything because I think he's doing fine for himself, okay? He, special kid. You know, that's two moments. Is that enough for you? Of course,
That'll work.
the final game in Alec Box Stadium will.
Right.
But the game before the final game was pretty special too. You know, when we were down, Bill, in the 8th inning.
8 runs.
Down 7-2.
We were down 5 going into the 8th inning, and we scored. I think we scored 2 in the 8th, and then 5 in the 9th. Yeah, that game was pretty awesome as well. Glenn, you asking me for 1, 2, 3 games out of. Bill told me not too long ago I coached my 900th game at LSU. Remember that, Bill?
I do remember.
He came up to me and he said, "Hey, tonight's your 900th game at LSU." Think about that. 900 games? I can't tell you how many times, especially early in my time here at LSU, when I would say to one of my sons, "We have to win this game tonight. Like, this is a must-win game tonight." I must have said that 200 times, okay, in the first few years of my career at LSU. Like, I literally felt like if we don't win this game today, it's going to change my whole career here at LSU. And, you know, that kind of approach can wear you down. Somehow I hung in there for a little over 900 games. We didn't win them all. We won, well, we have the third best.
637, third best SEC winning percentage.
Third best winning percentage in SEC history. So we won through 637 so far. Hopefully we can get that number to 640 this weekend.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks, Glenn.
Thank you.
Well, just going back to this morning, leaving, knowing that when you come back, you know, unless y'all aren't able to win the 3, that could be your career could be over. What were you thinking about that as you left? What was on your mind as you walked out of the stadium this morning?
You know what, Wilson, I have to be honest with you that it hit me yesterday when we walked off the field. When I walked off the field yesterday after practice, and everybody had already gone in, and I was kind of the last guy off, and I walked into the dugout and I kind of turned around and just looked back at the field. Remember how Drew Brees walked into the tunnel and he looked back at the Superdome after they had lost to Tampa Bay, and I just kind of looked back at the field, and it kind of overwhelmed me a little bit, to be honest with you. I was wondering if that would be the last day that I walked off Alec Box Stadium's field, you know, in an official capacity. But I didn't want to think about it too much because I was thinking negative, you know, and I didn't want to think negative going into the weekend. I feel like we'll be back on the field again next week practicing and getting ready for a super regional, and that's the attitude I want to have. So, but it little bit got to me a little bit yesterday, but you know, today I was a little bit overwhelmed because Scott came over and sat in my office and we talked for a little while, and then when we walked out and went to get on the bus, there was quite a few people waiting outside the gate there as we were getting ready to go on to the buses, you know, kind of a send-off, and I didn't expect them. I didn't know they were going to be there, and it pulled on my heartstrings quite a bit. You know, it was pretty neat. It was kind of cool. Reminded me of the old days a little bit, you know, the pre-pandemic days when people would do that rather frequently. And, yeah, I got a little bit emotional, you know, with the people there. It was nice. It was really appreciated.
Tell me about your bus driver, because he's been your guy for a while, right?
Oh, Willie Moses?
Yeah.
He's awesome. You know, just, you know, I love being around people that are passionate about what they do. And Willie is one of those people. It just goes to show you could be the bus driver, you could be the person that takes care of the field, you could be whatever your job is. Everybody plays a role. Everybody has an important role. You don't have to be the person in the headlines. You know, everybody has an important job, and people that take pride in what they do know that they're important. I try to make everybody feel important, and because they are, it's not fake. Everybody has an important job. Willie Moses makes our players feel special. It's not just me. When our players get off the bus, he hugs them all. He wishes them all well. We get off the bus at Ole Miss, he hugs them all, and he's waiting for them to give them a hug when they get back on the bus. After we beat Ole Miss, he makes everybody feel like they just beat the Yankees in the World Series, you know. Our players and me, we all love Willie. He's the greatest, you know, because he takes such pride in what he does. First of all, he drives us very safely to get us where we're supposed to go, and then he cares about our team. He was very emotional with me because I hadn't seen him since the announcement last week, and obviously I had not told him what I was going to be doing because I hadn't made up my mind yet anyway, you know, the last time I had seen him. And he was a little bit overwhelmed today when I saw him. And he's just a great guy. I love him to death. And I'm going to miss him. I'm going to miss everything about the job, all the people. You know, our groundskeeper crew, our you know, my secretary, Virginia, when I broke the news to Virginia Robertson the other day, she cried like a baby. She gave me a big hug and cried on my shoulder. And she said, I thought we were going to go out together. And I said, I'm sorry. You know, I just, you know, everybody has an important job, and, you know, everybody contributes to the success. It's not a one-man operation.
Sorry. How long has he been your driver? Do you remember?
It's been several years. I don't know exactly, but we always request him because if he's not driving us, it doesn't feel normal.
Cool. Thanks, Coach.
Does William have one?
I'm sorry.
William Weathers said he had a question. I was making sure he.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Coach, I was wondering after 56 games, does Gonzaga remind you of any type of team that you have seen this season? And if so, how are those matchups?
You know, we were talking about that the other day among our staff. They remind us a little bit of a team like UL, maybe not so much like a SEC team, because the SEC teams, their pitchers are all hard throwing guys. This pitcher is not a real hard throwing guy. He's more of a deceptive kind of pitcher. You know, he's all arms and legs. He doesn't throw exceptionally hard. His curveball is really pretty slow, but, you know, you think it's coming in and it just kind of disappears. So it's more like one of the teams we play in the midweek, but that's really good. And then, you know, their team, it's not necessarily a team that's going to overpower you. They don't have a ton of home runs, and they don't steal a lot of bases. They just got a lot of really tough outs. I was going to say Louisiana Tech, but I don't think they quite have the firepower like a Louisiana Tech home run power. So it's kind of a blend of a lot of the very better mid-major teams that we play during the middle of the week. Take the best qualities of most of those teams, and that would be the Gonzaga team.
Paul, one more if I could. You obviously got into coaching because of your dad, and as I understand it, you went to see him Sunday. How important was it to you to see him in the days after announcing that your career would be coming to an end?
Yeah. I took my mom up there, and my wife and I, the three of us, we all went up and saw my dad on Sunday. You know, it was important. Needed to go talk to him a little bit. You're going to try to make me cry, Wilson. I'm not going to let you do it today.
Sorry, not trying to. Just curious.
Hey, Coach, can I ask you a lighthearted question then?
Please.
So, you let Chris Cotton grow his hair a while back because you said the girls all liked it and stuff.
My wife liked it. She got mad at me when I told him to cut his hair.
Giovanni, this is like a next level hair and beard thing, right? I mean, could you imagine 5-10 years ago coaching a guy that you kind of let it look like that?
Well, I had a player by the name of Jeff Samardzija at Notre Dame. I don't know if you remember when he played football, he had hair halfway down his back. So when he came to the baseball team, I said, Jeff, way out of control. So we're going to get that haircut, okay? So I let him cut it. I let him still keep it rather long comparatively to what normally we would have, but it was much shorter than what he had it in football. I usually don't make a huge issue about the length of their hair. Remember Ray Frimes had long hair. The mullets are not, they're kind of in style in Louisiana, so I don't want to, kill the styles too much, I just relinquished on the facial hair rule this year to let the guys do that more than the hair. The hair has always been not. Listen, when I played at LSU, I had long hair. You couldn't see my ears. I'm sure Bill could dig up an old photograph of me, huh, Bill?
Yeah, absolutely.
As when I could grow long hair. I don't want to kill the guy's game totally. They gotta be able to go out and talk to some people and have some fun. But I don't know. I'm getting soft. You know that.
You played Southern a couple times this year. What do you think about their chances of going out there with nothing to lose in Austin?
Hey, they got a tough draw with Texas. That's a tough place, man. My experience of going to Austin and playing there was not a lot of fun a few years back. You may remember. Whew, that field is a hard place to score runs. It's a pitcher's ballpark, and they've got good arms, the Longhorns. So I wish Chris and the boys well. It's hard to score runs there. They're going to have to scratch and claw, but they're playing with a lot of confidence, I mean, Chris has guys. They got guys that that play with a lot of confidence, and they're going to scratch and claw. And Chris has got them playing well. I wouldn't be surprised. Who else is in that field out there? I can't even remember.
Fairfield.
Oh,
And
Fairfield.
ASU. Yeah,
And who's the fourth team?
ASU.
ASU's not playing all that great this time of year either. Didn't they have a rough series the last weekend of the season? Oh, they finished 5th in the league, I'm being told. So, they may not win the tournament because Texas is in it, but they might have some success out there. I hope they do. Good luck to them. They're all friends of mine over there, so I always root for Southern.
Paul,
Yeah.
you talk about scoring runs. Are you at all concerned about the offense, especially with the kind of pitcher you're going to face?
I'm always concerned about scoring runs. I'm first concerned about pitching, and then I'm concerned about scoring runs. We got to shut them down so that we don't have to score too many runs. But this guy is crafty, and he's going to make it hard on us. So we gotta figure out a way. We're gonna work today on some things that I think would help us against a pitcher like this, and hopefully we can have success against them. But our team has been a little bit up and down when it comes to offense. Some days we're great, and some days not so. So we just got to get hot for 3 days in a row. That's what I'm hoping we can do out here.
All right, guys.
Good enough?
I think we're good.
Okay.
Get Cantor to throw you BP.
Yeah,
I'm walking around back there.
he throws soft enough, that's for sure.
Exactly. I'm sure it'd be a lot of this.
All
Thanks,
right.
Coach.
Thanks,
Good luck.
guys.
Good luck.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Paul. All right. Thank y'all. And I'll be in touch about tomorrow's availability time. It would be, I think it would be about 12:15 tomorrow, Central Time. 12:15 Central Time.
Who's it going to have, Bill?
I'm sorry?
Will it be players or is it just me more Paul?
Yeah, it'll be player. Yeah, well, Paul will be available. We'll also have a few players as well.
You said what time? Sorry.
About 12:15 Central Time.
Gotcha. Okay. Sounds good.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you.